Good morning, students. Yesterday we have discussed the basic information about accounting for goods and service tax, that is GST. Now from today onwards we will see some problems of passing journal entries and how to adjust the GST in the books of accounts. Okay. First we will see some problems of intrastate transactions, that is transactions within the state. म्हणजे एका स्टेटमध्ये असतील तर त्या स्टेटमध्ये सेल परचेस झाला असेल तर ट्रान्झॅक्शन्सच्या एंट्रीज कशा होतात त्याचा स्टडी आपण करणार आहोत. सी द प्रॉब्लेम. पास एंट्रीज इन द बुक्स ऑफ अशोक ब्रदर्स assuming that all transactions have been entered within the state of Bihar. So he is working within the state of Bihar, Ashok Brothers. Assuming CGST at 6%, SGST at 6%. As the transactions are within the state of Bihar, this is the example of intrastate transactions, and so only CGST and SGST, we have to think about CGST and SGST only, not about IGST, okay, which is applicable to interstate transactions, that is transactions between two states or transactions out of India, etc. Okay, which is called as IGST, integrated GST. So this is the example of intrastate transactions. See the problem. January 2nd, purchase goods for rupees 2 lakhs on credit. 5th Jan, sold goods for rupees 3 lakhs on credit. 10th, purchase computer printer for office for rupees 50,000 and payment made by check. This is the example of purchase of asset. Then on 20th January, legal consultation fees of rupees 10,000 paid in cash. This is the example of expense made. 22nd January, rent of rupees 20,000 paid by check. This is again the example of expenses paid. And on 31st January, payment made of balance amount of GST. Okay. Now we will see the journal entries one by one. In the books of Ashok Brothers, first entry is of 2nd January. While studying these problems, you have to write the problem as well as solution in your notebook, so that from your written problem you can read the transaction and study the journal entry and then pass that journal entry in your notebook. Okay. First entry is purchase goods for rupees 2 lakhs on credit. So it is entry of purchase. आपण कालच प्रोफार्मा जर्नल एंट्रीज बघितलेल्या आहेत. पर्चेसेसची एंट्री कशी होते आपल्याला माहिती आहे. सो एंट्री विल बी पर्चेसेस अकाउंट डेबिट 2 lakhs. इनपुट CGST अकाउंट डेबिट 6% of 2 lakhs. Okay. So it is 12,000. Input SGST account debit 6% SGST, so rupees 12,000. To creditors account 2,24,000, because these goods are purchased on credit, so creditors account is credited. If it will be cash transaction, then the entry will be purchases account debit, input CGST account debit, input SGST account debit to bank account. Okay. कॅश ट्रान्झॅक्शन असतं तर अशी एंट्री होईल. क्रेडिट ट्रान्झॅक्शन असेल तर टू क्रेडिटर्स अकाउंट अशी एंट्री होईल. नाव सेकंड ट्रान्झॅक्शन इज ऑफ सेल. सोल्ड गुड्स फॉर रुपीज 3 lakhs ऑन क्रेडिट. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो ए क्रेडिट ट्रान्झॅक्शन. सो डेटर्स अकाउंट विल बी डेबिटेड. इन कॅश ट्रान्झॅक्शन बँक अकाउंट विल बी डेबिटेड. ओके. जर कॅश ट्रान्झॅक्शन असतं तर बँक अकाउंट डेबिट झाला असता. हे क्रेडिट ट्रान्झॅक्शन आहे म्हणून डेटर्स अकाउंट डेबिट 3,36,000. आता 3,36,000 कसे आले तर डेटर्स अकाउंट विल बी डेबिटेड. डेटर इज अवर कस्टमर. हिज अकाउंट विल बी डेबिटेड बाय सेल्स प्लस CGST and SGST. Okay, so to sales account, sale is of 3 lakhs. CGST will be 6% of 3 lakhs and SGST will be 6% of 3 lakhs, so 18,000, 18,000. So total amount receivable from debtor is 3 lakhs 36,000. So debtors account debit 3 lakhs 36,000, to sales account 3 lakhs, to output CGST 18,000, to output SGST 18,000. In this way, we have to pass the entry of goods sold on credit. Okay. In first entry, total amount payable to creditors by us is 2,24,000 because 2 lakhs is the amount of purchase, 12,000 CGST, 12,000 SGST. Total amount we will pay to the supplier 2,24,000. Okay, for purchase of goods. In second transaction, that is transaction of 5th January, amount receivable from debtors is 3,36,000 total, including CGST and SGST in the sales amount. Understood? This is very interesting. Now the entry of 10th January. See the entry. Purchased computer printer for office for rupees 50,000 and payment made by check. This is a cash transaction as payment was made immediately. Okay, so entry will be entries of purchase of asset. We have discussed at the time of pro forma journal entries. For purchase of fixed assets, we have to debit assets account and debit SGST and CGST account. So entry will be office equipment account debit 50,000. 6% of 50,000 will be 3,000. So input CGST account debit for 3,000, input SGST account debit for 3,000, and total amount paid as the price as the cost of office equipment is 56,000. So to bank account 56,000. We have paid 56,000 to the computer shop owner, total amount. Out of that 50,000 was the price of that computer printer actually, and added tax GST added 6,000. So total amount paid by us is 56,000. Understood? Next entry, 20th January. Legal consultation fees of rupees 10,000 paid in cash. This is example of GST for expenses. Legal fees paid. Legal fees paid account debit 10,000. 6% of 10,000 will be 600. So input CGST account debit 600. Input SGST account debit 600. Total amount paid by us is rupees 11,200 in cash as legal fees to the legal consultant. Understood? Now 22nd January. On 22nd January, rent paid by check. So similar entry, rent account debit 20,000. 6% of 20,000, that is 1,200 CGST, 1,200 SGST. So input CGST account debit 1,200. Input SGST account debit 1,200. To bank account, total amount paid by us as rent rupees 22,400 through bank, that is by check. Now see the last entry. Last entry is of payment made of balance amount of GST. We have already discussed that input GST will be set off against output GST. So after doing that, for setting off input GST with output GST and for payment made to the government, this entry will be passed. We will discuss the explanation here. See, by passing the journal entries, in first journal entry, input CGST is 12,000, out input SGST is 12,000. आपल्याला टोटल करायचे. टोटल इनपुट CGST किती आहे सगळ्या एंट्रीजमधला मिळून, टोटल इनपुट SGST किती आहे सगळ्या एंट्रीजमधला मिळून, त्याची टोटल तिथे करून दाखवली बघा. इनपुट CGST 12,000 प्लस फ्रॉम थर्ड जर्नल एंट्री 3,000, फ्रॉम entry of legal fees 600, from entry of rent 1,200. So total input CGST is 16,800 and total input SGST is 16,800. Okay, now total output CGST, they are calculated, it is only in one entry, so it is 18,000. आउटपुट CGST आणि आउटपुट SGST यांची पण टोटल करायची वेगवेगळ्या एंट्रीमध्ये जर असेल तो, तर ती 18,000 झालं आहे, 18,000 झाली आहे, बरोबर आहे. नाव द इनपुट CGST विल बी सेट ऑफ अगेन्स्ट आउटपुट CGST अँड इनपुट SGST विल बी सेट ऑफ अगेन्स्ट आउटपुट SGST. म्हणजे इनपुट CGST जो आहे 16,800 तो आउटपुट CGST 18,000 बरोबर ॲडजस्ट होईल आणि इनपुट SGST 16,800 जो आहे तो आउटपुट SGST बरोबर ॲडजस्ट होईल. सो 18,000 आउटपुट CGST मायनस इनपुट CGST 16,800, 1,200 रुपये नेट CGST विल बी पेड, 1,200 net CGST will be paid, okay, to the government. And from for input SGST adjusted with output SGST, 18,000 minus 16,800 is equal to 1,200. This is the net amount will be paid to the government. So total amount paid to the government will be 2,400. बरोबर आहे. ज्या वेळेला गुड्स परचेस केले त्यावेळेला इनपुट CGST पेड केला होता 16,800 आणि ज्यावेळेला सोल्ड केलं त्यावेळेला 18,000 GST आपण कस्टमरकडनं वसूल केलेला आहे. समजतंय तुम्हाला. त्यामुळे आपण पेड केलेला 16,800 GST 18,000 आपण वसूल केलेले GST बरोबर सेट ऑफ होईल आणि एक्सेस अमाऊंट उरेल 1,200 विच विल बी पेड टू द गव्हर्मेंट. तुम्हाला कळलं मला काय म्हणायचं आहे. आपण पेड केलेला GST आपण घेतलेल्या GST बरोबर सेट ऑफ होतो आणि एक्सेस अमाऊंट आपल्याकडे जी उरलेली असते आपण जास्त घेतला असेल तर ती एक्सेस अमाऊंट गव्हर्मेंटला पेड केली जाते. आपण परचेसच्या वेळेला आणि एक्सपेन्सेसच्या वेळेला म्हणजेच पेड करण्याच्या वेळेला आपण जो GST पेड केला त्याला इनपुट CGST आणि इनपुट SGST असं म्हणतात. टोटल अमाऊंट पेड बाय अस is 16,800 and we have received from the customer which is called as output GST, that is output CGST and output SGST. We have collected from customers is 18,000. So 16,800 will be set off against 18,000. Excess amount remained with us is rupees 1,200. So total 2,400 GST will be paid to the government. Understood? This is very interesting. So the entry will be like the pro forma entries we have discussed before for setting of the GSTs. Combined entry has been passed. See, output CGST account debit, it is debited for rupees 18,000 because in earlier entry, that is in the entry of sale, it was credited. So आपल्याला अपोजिट करायला पाहिजे सेट ऑफ करण्यासाठी. सो आउटपुट CGST इज डेबिटेड फॉर 18,000, आउटपुट SGST इज डेबिटेड फॉर 18,000. दुसऱ्या एंट्रीमध्ये ते क्रेडिट केले होते, ते डेबिट केल्यावर ते कॅन्सल झाल्यासारखं होईल. इनपुट CGST अकाउंट इज क्रेडिटेड फॉर 16,800, इनपुट SGST अकाउंट इज क्रेडिटेड फॉर 16,800. कारण हे सगळे इनपुट CGST आणि SGST हे पण प्रत्येक एंट्रीमध्ये डेबिट केले होते. ते सगळी टोटल अमाऊंट क्रेडिट केली म्हणजे ते सेट ऑफ झाले आणि तरी 2,400 रुपये एक्स्ट्रा उरलेले ते गव्हर्मेंटला पेड करायचे. सो टू बँक अकाउंट 1,200 प्लस 1,200 2,400 ॲडजस्टमेंट ऑफ GST अँड पेमेंट ऑफ द बॅलन्स अमाऊंट to the government. Understood? This amount will be deposited with the government, 2400. Okay, so in this way we have to pass the journal entries at the time of intrastate transactions. That's all for today.